All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ben's Brick Designs. I'm Ben. Happy Sunday. Thank you for being here. Hope you're having a good weekend. I hope the weather's treating you nicely. It's hot kind of all over the country right now. So stay hydrated, stay inside, stay shaded at least. If you must go out, then, wear sunscreen and be covered up and all that good stuff. Good morning, Johnny. Good morning, Missy. I hope you're all doing well. So after the post convention high from Brick Rodeo, I think everybody's got this idea of what they want to do for next year. And while I do have a project, I also want to keep working on the Q2 stadium. So that's what I've got going on today. There are aspects of this part of the build, not the new roof section or anything, that I do want to kind of look at maybe in the software, try to give myself some ideas about what I can do to clean it up, to make it work a little better. It functioned fine on its own. But there were parts that fell apart or didn't hold together well, or that I'm concerned about that I'd like to shore up a bit. So I thought I would kind of stick these things into the digital model while I'm thinking about it. And then maybe we'll bounce back over to work on the AT-AT model a little bit so we can get that theme bent as well. And in the interim, we'll talk about stuff. If anybody has any further questions about Brick Rodeo, or about studio, or about anything, I'm happy to talk about that. So again, I hope you're all having a good Sunday so far. I hope you got a warm beverage, or at least had a good breakfast today. We went to a place close by called Home Kitchen that has great French toast and all kinds of cool pancakes and things like that. They have stuffed croissant French toast that's just, it might as well be an ice cream sandwich. It's just so good. And their bacon is really good. Staff is always friendly. So yeah. So there's a couple things that I need to fix on here. First of all, I did put in a section like this above the seating area here. So I need to go back and add that. One thing that I did notice is that these pillars held okay, but from within here, the roots of the pillars down here fell apart. They jumped off the base plate quite a bit, and so they would do this thing where they'd get a little loose on the bottom, but they wouldn't push farther down because they were still down there. But it made everything, like all the stuff, all the cross beams, not fit right because they were kind of sliding around on the bottom. I don't know of a better way to anchor a bunch of plates like this. I thought of doing something like when I was thinking about them at night, trying to put myself to sleep, I thought about putting these curved slopes over the brackets, but there's not enough room to do that in here. There's just too many plates. If there were two fewer plates, I'd be able to do it. So that needs to be, even if I were to, like, on the physical one, surround this with plates so I know where it goes, like just put some plates around this so I can say, okay, this goes in here. Yeah, and that's another thing. They traveled pretty well because there were two of them, and these are basically like big mills plates at this point. It's, these big pillars, and then it's got plates on top of it. They still bent a little bit because there wasn't like a long running brick to kind of hold it in place, and then a bunch of other stuff, right? It wasn't milled very good. But they didn't bend or anything a whole lot during transit. That wasn't really the problem. The problem is I put these little like 2x4s in here to hold the two plates together, thinking that was going to be enough. So that was my fault. I just put like a little 2x4 plate in there. this could be a whole row of 2x4 plates or one long 2x16 or something like that to kind of hold it together. So that needs to be addressed. The other thing that really fell apart a lot was this catwalk up here. So when I was putting it together, the problem I ran into was the depth of the tables meant that I only had access to the model from behind. So you can see I needed to reach in here and get the phone, the two phones and the tablet out to charge them every night. Well, I didn't have access to the front of the table because the front of the table would have been, I keep hitting caps lock. The front of the table would basically have been like, so it was this wide. The front of the table would have been about here, maybe even farther. And my arms would reach to about here. So there was really no way to get to the front of the model. The tables were like these, they were two like 18-inch width tables that had leaves that would raise and lower, making them a 30-inch table. So it was like two like 20-inch tables either way, but I couldn't reach over the table and everything. So I had to move one table out. I had to move all the models off of it, take the tablecloth off, move the table out because it was one big tablecloth, then go in there, set it all up, all while walking around, you know, the big end of the table to try to get to it. Fixing it up here, going around. So that's setting it up. Once it was set up, there was no access. So what I ended up doing to get this monitor out of the middle, this laptop, was to take this whole section of roof off every time, which wasn't too bad, you know, and taking the phones out, I would kind of pop these two out, let them fall, reach around, grab those. The other thing was I had to these were all slideshows. So the two phones were on slideshows and the middle thing was just a YouTube playlist of football highlights from the team. But in putting them in place, I didn't know if I had accidentally touched the screen. So every once in a while I would stop somebody in front of the table, said, hey, I'm going to put this in here. Did I touch it? Is it doing anything? And they're like, no, it looks good. Or, yeah, you brought up a menu, or it looks like it went back to a list. So I had to bring it out, redo it, put it back in, and try not to touch the screen. It was such a problem. So wasn't really happy with that. And I spent a lot of time doing that. The biggest problem I had was when I was putting this roof together. If you can see in here, the lattice work kind of goes around this bit of roof support, right? It's not like that in real life. The roof support just goes up to the roof right here, and then there's not this thing right here, but it's Lego and I have to figure out how to do that. So in order to put these roof sections on, I would have to get them up as high as I could and then slide them over. But also you have to start with one roof section and then put this other one on and make sure it's attached. So like in between each section, there's plates and stuff. So these two would link together. So in the real model, there's 2x4 plates going along here. So I had to make sure those were lined up. Then each little bit of catwalk had to kind of go in with that support coming through it, which I had to do this from the back, right? I couldn't see what I was doing from the front. So what I ended up doing is just removing all of this catwalk. It's just, I put it in a Ziploc bag. And I was like, it's going to come out later. It was also really fragile. If you can see what's in here, I don't know why I did it like this. This is a very fragile. It's just these 1 by whatever these are, 1 by 3, and then plates. And they're barely held together by like corner plates and plus plates in here, these plus shaped plates. So the good thing was, once it was all connected, it actually like brought the roof up a little bit. Like it helped with the sag of the roof. because there was more of it to kind of keep steady. It was like a floating Mills plate, right? The problem was I couldn't see it to put it on. So it ended up being a problem. Some of it would fall apart and I would be like, well, I can sit here and try to get it all put back up and then put the table back, or I could try to rebuild it from the back. And I was like, you know what? If the roof stays up without it, it's fine. I still want to get it in there eventually, right? But I don't know how to do it. So I'm thinking that this might need to be redone. It needs to be more stable. Good morning, Bev. It needs to be more stable. This obviously wasn't working in reality. So it looks good, but I think I need to do something else. So I'm individually going to be pulling out a lot of the sections and putting them on the table and shoring them up. So they travel with the roof rather than traveling without the roof and then having to put the roof on in place. Now, if it falls apart in transit, I can't do anything about it. But it also means what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using not those. It's not a pillar. Maybe it is support. I have a ton of these guys, right? So what I ended up doing is each corner of the roof section, I would pile up a bunch of these supports on the corner here and the corner here. And then that would hold up the roof while it was just sitting here, right? So I think while it's traveling, what I'll end up doing is putting in supports for entire sections. So it'll be built to hold completely together. And then I'll remove these supports when I'm on site somewhere. This doesn't have to go to any other show this year. I thought about bringing it to Bricks and Brews in October, and I might if I've got enough time to go through this and rebuild it, but there are a lot of things that need to be fixed on it. This stuff doesn't line up really well. So again, if any of these is off down here, right? If any of these base pieces is off, what that changes is where it attaches up here. When I fully got the roof together, this was flush. It was supposed to connect here like with 6 studs in, and it was basically connecting at like 4 studs. So at some point the math all the way across this got pushed, and I believe it was because, and I didn't have the program with me to look at. I didn't have a laptop at the time to set up to make sure I can go back and look at where each of these things set up is. So another thing is to put red plates around this so I know exactly where each of these things is supposed to go. It won't help with them moving, but it'll help knowing where they get put in. And like with every architectural kind of project, if your foundation isn't good, everything on top of that is going to shift and look bad and be hard to work with. I ran into this a lot with the Capitol, where when I was designing it, specifically the base plates, because you can't line base plates up really easily. You have to put a base plate down and then a regular plate and then snap another base plate onto it, because they don't like being level, right? They're just like 1 or 2 of those LUs off. And if you don't notice it right away, when you're building across as it goes up, it kind of works, but then when you zoom into each brick, there's these little gaps. And each time you go farther and farther up, it's like a copy error or artifact where it just keeps compounding on itself. And at some point you get far enough up and it doesn't work anymore. Like it won't click into place. So that's kind of what I ran into with this. Was it was fine on the ground. Everything looked like it held together, but the higher I got up, the more it had shifted. So I want to get these as stable as possible individually. And I do think a lot of that is going to come down to just building it with the physical thing. I've got the idea of what I want it to look like digitally. Now I just need to take each section, say, okay, what works? What's going to hold it in place? What's going to be too heavy? You know, I may even have like more brackets holding. It doesn't need to look exactly like the finished stadium as long as it holds together. I'll do my best. But if it has extra little brackets holding this, so I'm ensuring that this doesn't fall over, because there's no way this should work, right? The center of mass is here, and it's not even on top of this. This is being held together by a bunch of these snot bricks, which is fine, but there's still all this weight on the front. And especially with the catwalk, that should just pull it off like this. So it speaks a little to the grip of, or the clutch power of those bricks. But each of these bricks can just come right off, and that whole thing will come off, and almost did at a couple points. I'd also like to, I think, run some more plates down the center here. Again, it might add some weight to it, but also plates tend to help things lift up. Long plates tend to help the warping. We'll pull it up a little bit. I'm also thinking of shifting these plates to the front instead of these heavier plates up here. I don't know why. I think it'd be easier to work with smaller plates up at the front. I'm also considering not having, well, no, it needs to be that. One of the big problems that I ran into with the stadium is that when you're viewing it at a table length, let's say you were standing roughly here, right? So let's say you were standing here and you're walking down, you're walking down this aisle. This is what you see from the table if you are an average height, right? You may not even see that there were monitors in here playing stuff. So we ran into that a couple times too, because a child or a shorter person would be like, oh, the monitors, and everybody else is like, hey, cool, And that's partially because of how it's built. You don't expect a view of a football stadium from here when you're in the stadium, right? You're expecting to be sitting right here, and this is where you see everything. You look back up at the scoreboard, you look out over the field, kind of thing. So, but that was kind of a limitation too. And if next year they do risers, it might be better for this thing to be put on a riser behind everything. That way people can see the monitors and stuff. I'm trying to think of what else I learned. Oh yeah, there's, I think I already said this. There's these seat caps, the section caps at the top that are just, these sections of seats are basically, especially this section, most of this section up until a certain row, and then this whole section are just big cement blocks that they've then put seats into. The lower sections from about here down are retractable. They're metal bleachers with the seats on them, because those get pulled out, and then there's a big tunnel over here that goes out into the parking lot, and they're stored outside. When there's a concert, they just collapse the whole thing, move them all out, and then the stage goes here. Why I brought that up, I have no idea. But anyway, these are just single pieces of concrete right here, but which is also right here. A lot of this is like a single pour of concrete, but it's like on top of some other supports. This is a single pour of concrete right here, and I added some stuff that fell apart when I was building, so I got to figure out a way to make that a little stronger. The back was fine. I didn't have any problems with any of these shops. They're just square buildings, no problems there. I did add, these aren't in the actual stadium, these big pillars to hold up the scoreboard, but I really didn't have another way to hold up the scoreboard. Originally, I thought that the scoreboard would be attached with these, because these pillars go all the way through it, these I-beams, and then this would be attached to those I-beams, but these don't stay together too well. If these shift, this whole thing shifts. It was just better that they had something to sit on, and I don't think anybody's going to fault me for that. In the final build, it's just going to have these, and I think I'm going to run into a lot of places where structurally I'm not an engineer, and I need to be able to ensure that it'll stay up for a long time without the use of rebar and concrete and glue and things like that. Each of these sections basically was shipped was boxed up like this, minus the roof. So it was this whole section plus the little bit of support on the roof. So from these sideways plates down was all put into a single box. Each box was 10 by 20 by 20. And then I would put t-shirts on either side of this so they wouldn't slide. And as long as you hold them up and down, and that's not a lot of this, they mostly made it. One of the scoreboard came apart, and the scoreboard's made up of individual grill bricks. They're made up of these individual grill bricks, and this whole section fell apart. It shifted really badly. So I had to rebuild this, but everything else was fine here. All the other sections seemed to perform okay. So I think it worked okay for the most part, but there are some things that I would like to change that are just too fragile. I would like to redo the math on these. These things were popping out constantly, and I couldn't tell like what height they needed to be, and it was just so frustrating. Once I got built, it was fine. I just left it alone. But I was stressed about making sure it was built properly. Which leads me into stressing over how this is going to go together. This is going to be filled with separate girders. And I think what's going to happen with this section moving forward is for this shape to work, I'm definitely going to need to build it for real. Which means it's going to look funky because I'm not going to have white 6x10 plates. I'm not going to have this many white 6x10 plates. I'm just going to have to use whatever 6x10 plates I have. I'm not going to have nearly enough of these swivels. And I don't know, honestly, how well the swivels are going to hold this shape. I have a feeling, and I just noticed something. I have a feeling that even with this piece in place, this piece is doing a lot of heavy lifting. This, did it not come in white? Oh, that should have been something I looked into. So this is going to have to be gray, which is going to be a problem. But I think all the other, there's times when you look at it and go, yeah, that's fine. It's got gray in it, whatever. So I think a lot of the internal stuff is going to have to be built by hand, because I'll have an idea of what I want to do, but I don't think I think I'm going to be playing with it too much in the software to not get it exactly how I need it to look. Let's see if we can take a look at and still keep these guys active. Okay. So this crisscrosses, so we can get a good view of the roof. I probably have a good photo of it somewhere. These aerial shots are great, but okay, so here's kind of, there's two here that we'll take a look at. There's another one up here somewhere. I think this is a render. No, that's real. Okay, so you can see these big pillars will come up through the entire thing. And then there is, it's like a support, but I think this is more, I think this also acts as double support, but also acts as a way to run cabling, wiring, and maybe even plumbing. Like, I don't know what's up here in terms of water, but you can see the crisscross of girders in here. So the straight up and down ones will be easy. The angled ones won't be terribly hard. They just kind of branch off from the main up and down ones. But then there's other ones that are really hard to kind of sort out, especially on this side, where it looks like there's, and I may be getting a lot of the internal or the stuff underneath the dome mixed up with it, but it looks like there's, you know, there's extra stuff coming out, and then it looks like they attach like halfway up. So there's these big ones, and then they attach halfway up to go out in front and then go to either side. So it's hard to tell what these would look like, but that's all to say that it's going to be very complicated to make those things in here. Ball joints for sure, because you want them to be able to kind of lean any direction. But as you can see here, I don't exactly know how deep that bar will be able to go into that plate. And so that could shift how many plates are here, what size of plates. The other option is to do Technic connectors. I don't think there's a joint. I don't think there's a joint with a bar on it. So you'd have to get something that has a bar or a Technic axle, and then you could line the whole thing with Technic connectors. So it looks like a rounded bar instead of a square bar like this. I think at scale, it's not going to matter if they're plates or bars or not. But I did something similar over here. And even here, I'm not really happy with this, but it works. These are just floating. They're attached down here and they float. For something like, for something up here, they literally do have to attach because they're going to be the reasons this keeps its shape. So this is going to have to be a build, like a physical build, so I may work on that soon as well. What doesn't have to be build is finishing out this corner, so we can start turning the corner over here to put in shops and more seats. So we can probably work on that a little bit if we wanted to. So now that I've talked for a half hour about stuff, how is everyone doing? Everybody get a breakfast? Everybody get a coffee? Feeling good about the weekend? Got anything fun planned for the rest of the day? Anybody have tomorrow off maybe? Have a nice 3-day weekend? I don't know why I stopped here. It seemed like a natural thing to then put another plate in here. I don't think that'll fit. It will not. It's over by 3. This is annoying. Doing good. Good deal. What's the widest? We've got 8 by 16 plate. So put a couple of these in here. Or at least one of those. 6 by 16. It's one too big. I think 4x16 plates exist. This cool plate does. What is that? Whatever this is super cool. What color does it come in? Red and blue. Not helpful. One thing I ran into when setting up these sections is how little support I gave for some of this interior stuff. Like, I had to add a bunch of plates underneath it, and that's kind of my failing every time, is like I'm not, if I were to do this and make it structurally sound, it wouldn't be these towers of these pillars. It would be two by four bricks all the way up, big square mass, just a big cube of 2x4 bricks. That way you can like take one or two layers off to make sure it works, right? Rather than like get pillars to put some plates up here and then hope the plates all stay together. It's lighter, but it's also not very strong. So you kind of have to play with it either way. For instance, I mean, a whole other support there. Nope. And again, this becomes a purchasing issue. What is that? Oh, that conflicts with that. That's fine. This becomes a purchasing issue with getting either a lot of 2x6 bricks or a lot of 2x4 and 2x2 bricks that you can alternate. The towers that I have were basically alternating bricks. I have a lot of 2x2 and 2x4 bricks. I don't have an endless supply. So at some point I'm gonna have to, you know, the pab wall or another. If we do a lug bulk order, then maybe I'll just buckle up and get 2x4 bricks in the thousands. I don't know. Grandkids are coming over. Son is in town this weekend. Went to the grandson's basketball game. It's a great, intense game. Ended up as a tie. Cool. My brother went to the Colorado Rapids, played Austin FC. So Austin was the away team. They played up there. And my brother had scored some free tickets. So he texted me and said, hey, I got free ticket. Look what I got free tickets to. And I'm like, great. You get to watch us get our butts kicked. So that's fun. So I was watching the game last night, and like literally to the 92nd minute, we didn't look good at all, but it was 0-0. And then they scored on a penalty. It was a dumb penalty. It was by a new player who'd just been subbed on. Not just, but 10, 15 minutes ago. And it was just frustrating because we looked bad already, and then take a dumb penalty and lose 1-0. It was really frustrating. And I haven't got a text from my brother saying, wow, you guys are terrible. But also, I don't think he's a huge soccer fan. So I'm almost glad that there was at least a score, because otherwise I feel like I would have heard it from him saying, I sat there for 2 hours and they didn't even win and nobody won. Something my dad would say. And I ascribe a lot of the same personality traits to my brother. We are our parents' kids, after all. So my brother went to that. My son, I don't know if you all saw pictures or not. My son graduated college yesterday, my youngest, and during the commencement ceremony, he put on a Spider-Man mask. Not commencement. So they get up, they line the whole thing, they go up, they read their name out, they go shake hand, get a coin. It's called a challenge coin. It's to remind them to always be doing good stuff. get their diploma, shake the hand of the president or the provost or whoever, and then as they leave the stage, there's this section of people that's like, it's called the photo section, where everybody goes to gather to take pictures of their kids as their kids are coming off stage. Then they'll go back to wherever they're sitting. As soon as he shakes the last person's hand, hat comes off, Spider-Man mask goes on, hat comes back on, and he's like, "What's up?" So he walks all the way back down and he gets his official picture taken with the Spider-Man mask, comes back around through the middle, and everyone's going freaking crazy. And everyone's like, "Let's get a picture together." And he gets to the front and sits down, and people are going crazy. And they had a drone flying around inside to get some good shots of everybody overhead. And got a really good shot of him, and the crowd went crazy. And then the security and the faculty people came over, and they're like, "You need to take that off." And he's like, "What?" And they're like, "You need to take that off right now." And he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "I've got my diploma. What are you going to, or I got my degree. What are you going to do? Kick me out?" So this was just, it was great. He was so proud and just did a really great job of it. I think I have another, I'm going to try not to show my whole family's chat history, but there was another really good picture that he sent to the group. And then they all jump in the river. It's Texas State, and there's a river running through San Marcos, the San Gabriel River. And as a tradition, the graduates all leave the graduating hall, the arena, and they all go out to the river and they all jump in the river. There was a horse. So there was one really good picture. And of course, it's going to be the one that takes the longest to load. But it's now his contact photo for me. Come on, phone. What's wrong with you? All the other pictures loaded just fine. Yeah, here's everyone's like, "What the heck?" It was a lot of fun. Then there was a horse. Yeah, this is, you know, they jump in the river. That's his, you've met, I think they've both been on stream at some point. So there's the whole family, the parents. It's the only thing I really wanted to look at, and it's the one thing it's not showing me. Huh, weird. It's not showing up on my other text either. Oh well. It was very cool. It was a fun day. The event wasn't that long. It was still really hot. Oh, there we go. I'm just going to show you in camera. That's just cool. That's a great picture with the hat. I'm very excited about that. All right. So, back to this. So this needs another support there. Probably another support here, because I'm going to do another. And this is basically Mills plating it all, but just at a different height. So we're going to do another one here. Let's do, we can do 2x16s. And do they do 1x16s? I don't think so. So I have to do 1x8s. And I'll just remember to put something underneath here to clean it up or join it together. Yeah, Austin's been not great the last, well, maybe even 5 years. They've just, I think they're spending money in the wrong places and they're getting the wrong type of players, and it's so frustrating to watch. All right, so this is going to become kind of weird because this is technically a tunnel. So I think this is going to have to be turned. I don't know why I didn't. There's 2 plates up there. I think this may all have to be turned because ideally, I didn't even think about that. This is gonna have to go like this. Oh, there's one. Dang it. Oh, well, maybe that's not too bad. If I extend that out. Why did that suddenly work? Huh, alright. Well, I don't have to do this anymore. But I can do this, and this, and do another that. Okay, cool. This is a tunnel. So these all have to move over. And oh man. I don't know how that's going to be held up. So I think what I could do here, 1, 2, is just that's the width of the tunnel, and then these don't need the support here, but I could do 4x6 plate. It's gonna be a little janky. In whatever other color this is. What's the cheapest color? Medium azure. And then a 2x6 plate. Cheapest color is lime. So this will support, his degree is, it's technically, I think it's like a computer science degree, but I think they call it Bachelor of Arts in Science. And then he does GIS systems, which is, it's GIS. So it's Geographic Information Systems. So it's a lot of plotting and planning, mapping, taking data and applying it to maps and information so people can use it to create plans for things and whatever. So he'll probably go into some area of like civic engineering or work for like the state or something. Was that attached to that? Oh no, it's its own thing. Okay. So we're going to repeat this because these guys can move over. He was going for, oh wait, let's replace one at a time so I know which one I'm replacing. He was going to go for just regular engineering, I think initially chemical engineering, and then software engineering, and then just software, like a computer science degree. And then he kind of he talked to somebody about GIS stuff, and he really liked it, so he went with that. Okay, I think that's good. Supports all three of those. Gonna do another one over here. This one might get in the way of this guy, so we'll move him down. This guy actually doesn't need to be there. Neither does that guy. Neither do any of these guys. They're just there to make sure I can make a base plate run into another base plate. So he doesn't have a job lined up yet, but he's already talking to some people, and there's jobs to be had. So very encouraged by his work ethic and whatnot. He's doing really well. Okay, so now that should support the correct side of this while still leaving a lot of this tunnel. I don't think the tunnel is this tall either. I think it's only about this tall. So I might go back and change a lot of this stuff. Also, I can color these gray because this is one big gray tunnel. I don't know if I have pictures of the tunnel. I did take pictures. I've taken pictures of the stadium. See if Google's smart enough to figure this out for me. So this is from the tunnel. Like we're kind of near the inside of it. So what happens is that this tunnel goes out in the parking lot, and it's where so this is the start of it. You just go this way, you go that way, and that whole thing's underneath this walkway right here. If you can see it from any of these angles or not. So we'll walk in. Yeah, here's a pretty good angle. So this whole thing, so you can see how thick that is right there. Everything under here goes out to the back end, which is this thing. And it empties basically right here. And this is where we'll do the full TIFO out here in this parking lot. Right now it's on we're painting it in this area right here, this concourse area. We'll take it out here, we'll put it on its net, stretch the net, put the TIFO on it, roll it up, and then everybody snake walks it back in here where it gets put down on the ground in front of the supporter section. There's these ropes that come off the front of the supporter section. You hook up the netting to that. And then farther up the supporter section, the ropes go over the catwalk, come down, and people pull, and it pulls it up. So this tunnel is used for getting stuff on and off the field. So everything has to be collapsible down to about, I want to say like 12 feet wide. So if we stick a 2x4, or let's say a 2x6, I really need to get like a ton of 2x6s. So we're going to need this to be put here. I guess we'll back this guy up one. So it should be about that thick, maybe even a little thicker. But again, it only comes over to, don't know if that was still there. It only comes over here. So this whole walkway goes across, and then there's these cutout steps, which is these cutout steps. So this isn't really lining up great right now. I have a feeling this needs to be up a little higher. Also, this angle isn't perfect. Like, this is a little shallower of an angle, but this is the angle I could work with. So this is kind of what we're looking at right now. That angle comes all the way out to the field a little more. So I think I can push this out in the field a little more. This could also probably be moved back a little more. And that's probably more what we're doing. Maybe just a little bit. So yeah, this is part of the, it's not exact, but it's gonna be good. As long as it looks the part. I'm trying to scale things with people. So you can see, like, this is probably a good representation of a person for this scale. Because the seats are about that size, you know, one stud per seat. So, oh, now my machine's, the app's locking up. This was one of the things that somebody printed for me, or one of the little tokens of appreciation was this little 3D printed gargoyle. I forget. I think it's a gargoyle if it has water coming out of it, and it's a grotesque if it's just something that sits on the top of the building. Of course, this camera's not working. But it's got a better focus. So I wanted to show. I don't know who left it, but it's super cool. A little grotesque. So it comes off on that plate. So that was pretty cute. There's another one that said a BR26 printed on the side of it. Maybe that's a sticker. But I don't know if this went with it. Like, this was separated, so I don't know if it went with it or what. I think that's supposed to be like somebody's head with like red hair, but I don't remember anybody with red hair. Anyway, this was also funny. I love mustache rides. So it should say I heart mustache rides, but now it just says I mustache rides. Anyway. So yeah, so this could probably, it's still, I've got a bounding box that's in the way. So you can see the size of a person here. So this is probably about the size it needs to be, height-wise. And it looks like there's 2 sections, so there'll be another section here. So if like if we were just to, there's one down here, so that's where they're standing, and another, I think we could probably get away with doing 2. Nope, that's about right. So this is like the right height, but you can see like standing, standing, concourse. And here we got standing, standing, concourse, but the concourse isn't nearly high enough to meet up here. So I don't know how to make it bigger without ruining the scale. And then right in the middle is where this goes, this pillar goes right in the middle of this angle here, which would be like right here, but then it's too far over to be a support for the roof, at least I think. So we gotta find another picture of the roof on that side, and I don't know if I have one. This is kind of close. Yeah, you see how far, like this is like a third into the roof, and even where I have it now is too far this way, is too far to the right. So if I were to move it even further in here, it wouldn't match that at all. So I'm just trying to make all these angles work. Oh, you know what? So the seating area does line up with that. So if we wanted, I could move this back like 1 or 2. That could be a start. Let's do that. So let's figure out how to grab all this without the base plate. Also working with the roof there. Everything is in the way. So I don't want to grab, let's do this. Grab everything except for that, that, and that. And yeah, let's grab that too. So I just want to shift the seating to be more in line there. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, that lines up a little better. Okay, I'm happy with that. I didn't really do a whole lot on this, but I'm going to take a pause and move over to the AT-AT, work on the AT-AT for a bit. Did some work, it's fine. It was mostly talking about what I needed to do physically, and I think that's just going to be a pull it out of the box and work on it. So we'll just do that. And then I'm going to get the AT-AT here. Get rid of these photos. What am I looking at? I was looking at, I have all these bookmarks up here, and this one's work. So these are all the sites that I go to for work. And this is Lego, so this is like all the other stuff. And every once in a while I get the two mixed up, and so I'll pull up, like now, I'll pull up the work tab, and I'm like, why can't I find anything? And then my brain shuts off. What's the number? 8192. Nope. Dysgraphia? Is that dysgraphia? Dysnumeria? I think we're still on this one. Oh yes. Ugh. This whole debacle. I'm gonna get rid of these guys. And I'm gonna get rid of these guys. Top. And that guy. And I'm going to select all of this. Oh, I grouped that, that's right. Plus that and that and that. Zisoo, how are you? Thanks for coming by. Appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. See, this didn't conflict what I was building it last time. I updated the software too, so I'm doubly upset now that it's not working. And for whatever reason, it wants to rotate like this. Let's take that out. Maybe that's the problem. $258. Nope. 257. 257.5. Why? What is it missing here? I can't tell. I think it's too low. So let's take that out. And then we'll do rotate. Well, it updated this morning too. Oops. I was going to update it yesterday. And I thought that might fix what was happening, but I guess not. 60. That might be good. So it gives us any problems. Okay, it's good. Is there any conflicts? No? So if I were to do this, copy, copy, copy. I should just be able to do this, right? No. Except this goes in here. Okay, I'm holding you to your word. Take it easy, Missy. Thanks for coming by. And Bev, appreciate it. Yeah, no worries. Take luck and care. Take luck, good care. Yeah. Are you okay, Zisoo? Do you smell burning? Do you smell toast? All right, so I want to do the exact same thing. I want to do this, 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 and this, and I want to copy and mirror and put it over here. And then copy and put it here. Yay! Save, because Jesus. Put the instructions over here. You all don't need to see those. Really? Okay. Back to like regular stuff. So how are you doing, Zisoo? What's life like for you lately? Anything fun going on? One of these days, we're going to have to get you out to a Brick Rodeo. And by one of these days, I mean next year. I know I say this every year, but we do have a room here. If anybody wants to rent a room and does not want to stay at... I only got one, so I can't really offer it to everybody. But if anybody wants to stay at Casa de Plastic and would like to go to Brick Rodeo next year, you just let me know. We'll work something out. Oh man, I haven't seen home movies in forever. The home movies was one of those shows that I was aware of on like Cartoon Network or whatever, and I watched a couple of them, and the humor wasn't my cup of tea. I did appreciate what they were doing, but there was a lot of that humor going around at the time where it was like, it was the dumbest joke I've ever heard in my life, and people were around me were dying going, why don't you get this? And I'm like, because it's dumb? But then there's like a lot of it felt nostalgic in some areas, and it was like the voice acting was very funny. So like I didn't really get home movies, but like I liked The Critic. John Lovett's The Critic, which I felt like was similar. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. All I know is H. John Benjamin voiced a bunch of characters in that too, and I'm like, I like him a lot. He plays the same thing every place, so. He's just got that voice. His very stuffy voice. Oh my god. Oh my god. There's a movie that came out recently, maybe last year, called Boy Kills World, where it's one of the Skarsgårds. It's the Skarsgård that played Pennywise, and he plays this guy who's like, he wakes up as a genetically created soldier, but he doesn't really know who he is or something. And he can't talk, but his internal monologue is H. John Benjamin. And I'm like, I have to see this. This looks ridiculous. And apparently it wasn't very good. So they're like, oh. All right, onto the legs. But I was like, well, I love things like Guns Akimbo and Swiss Army Man and some of the other stuff. So I was like, maybe this will be good. All right, we got 2 legs to do. So either do them at the same time or copy them. Let's try to do them at the same time. I don't know if it's faster to actually look for the parts or scroll for the parts in the parts list. Like, look for the parts in the build area. Or what? Because, I mean, I don't need to, like, go over here and look for the part. I can just type the part name over here. But, like, it's over here somewhere. I don't know which is faster. Okay, another one of those. Oh, it's got a 3rd step. Okay, missed that 3rd step there. And then a... No, it was Boy Kills World. Let's see if we can look it up. Boy Kills World. Yeah, a deaf person with a vibrant imagination, a fever dream action film. It's Skarsgård. Somebody Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård. And I don't know these other guys. He is trained by a mysterious shaman to repress his childhood imagination and become an instrument of death. But his childhood imaginary voice is H. John Benjamin. And it doesn't say it in here. Famke Janssen's in it. Charlton Copley's in it. H. John Benjamin, yeah, voice. But it looks wild, right? It looks like Upgrade or any other number of like weird movies. I kind of want to see it. I don't know where it's playing. So, oh, Hulu and Disney. Cool. I may watch it just for myself. Just for me. Boy Meets World, yeah. That'd be weird if Topanga was in this. For no reason. Boop, boop. That's another show. I think it was just past my time. Boy Meets World. Like I'm aware of its existence, but I don't think I watched it too much. It was probably on in the 90s, and I was in college. So I don't think I was the target audience for that. Flipping back over. Boop, boop. Then we get all our faceted bricks. We are getting closer and closer to our UK trip. We're very excited. We got our travel agent has given us most of the itinerary, and that includes like the flights to and from London, and then most of the hotel stays. So we need to put our deposit down on it. It's like a full 2 weeks in the UK for roughly 10 grand, a little under 10 grand, which I feel is pretty good. Very excited. Yeah, Midsommar's another kind of wild one where it's a lot of things you don't expect. The brightness, for one. The whole thing is did you guys just see what happened? Oh, this software. It also had one of those endings like you're used to. I'm used to horror movies. Actually, I say I'm used to horror movies. I'm not a horror movie fan. So, and I can't tell what color that is. Is that brown? Or is it dark gray or black? I think it may be black. Can you guys tell what color that is? That's got to be black. Or very, very, very dark gray, which I don't see a dark gray plate over here, so I think it's black. Not watching a lot of horror movies growing up, I wasn't keen on all the tropes. I really didn't understand that it's really only one person who's meant to survive, and it's a horror movie if they survive. It's a tragedy if they don't, or if you get the feeling that after the movie things are going to go poorly for them anyway, right? The recent movie Obsessed, or Obsession, I think it's Obsession, was one of those where you get to the end and you're like, well, it doesn't matter how it ended. This isn't going to go well after this for anybody. It's going to go terribly. Like the rest of their life is going to be awful. And I wasn't really prepared for that level of stuff until like Midsummer came out and Hereditary came out, where there was like, it was unsettling to begin with, also a bit gory, also leaving you with this like, it's not finalized. The bad guy's not dead. The last girl's not walking away. The police are involved. It's like, it just leaves you with something. You're like, well, now what? And they're like, I don't know. What do you think? And you're like, don't do that to me. It's weird. Midsummer was definitely one of those. Where it just sort of ended and you're like, I don't know how to feel now. 2 of these each. And then the 2 with like the toe balls on the end of it. Also, haven't really got into horror movies until Beth and I got together, and she was a huge horror movie fan. So I became a horror movie fan. Dude, just, the little jumpy outy bits. In out, in out. Ha 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 ha. Mess you up, man. Yeah, agreed. And so much so that I feel like modern stuff, anything done by like A24, I'm 100% going to go watch, because it's going to be weird. It's going to be unsettling. I'm going to dig it. Still haven't seen Green Knight. I heard that was kind of like not what you're expecting, but I still kind of wanted to see it. There's another one coming out, A24. But I don't remember what it was about. I just know that it's a new one. Can get rid of this leg. Did I miss? All the black pieces are right there. How come I don't see this? Oh, they're laying sideways. Was it good? I've heard mixed things about Green Knight. How far does that down? Does that go? All the way, apparently. We are going to go see the Spider-Mans tonight. I'm excited. My son is more excited about this than I am. He's like, you have to go and then we have to talk. I'm like, okay. He's a very large Spider-Man. He's a big fan. He's not a big fan. He's a normal-sized human who is also a fan of the show. Of the character. I am currently reading a little bit and watching some Apple TV science fiction. Silo, and Silo is very good, and this last episode was real good. This last episode is basically them going, look, we know you have gone through the first couple episodes with us, and we appreciate that, so here's your payoff. So good. Don't need any of these hips. Get rid of those. Reading a book. I just finished a book called Hench, and I'm starting the newest one, Villain. That's very good. It's sort of like, I mean, it's not capes, but there's a, the kind of genre of superhero stories where it's told from a real world perspective and not like the Marvel Cinematic Universe perspective or the Fantastic comic books or the Batman of the 80s or whatever, but it's sort of like the behind the scenes, what makes heroes work and what their lives are like. So Hench is basically this, it's a first person story from the point of view of this lady who works as a henchman, or a hench, meaning somebody who helps the supervillain. So it's henches and kicks, sidekicks. But the henches can be like a full warehouse or office full of all these people, and it's just a job for them. You know, she goes through a temp agency and gets placed, and they need somebody to do this work for this one thing, and you can go do this, and what are your typing skills like? And it's really good. Really went to a few places that I really wasn't expecting. A lot of fun. So I'm waiting to get to the second book. I'll appreciate it more after a rewatch, I think. Okay, cool. I heard the Spidey is pretty fun. Maybe not the best, but it works. MC News. End of game. Nice. Yeah, I think Spidey's gonna hit, and I think a few other things are gonna hit before Doomsday, because Doomsday is kind of like everyone's like, so, and the trailer, it's been so long, and I think they are still recovering from John Major kind of effing up their whole thing by being not a good person, that now they're kind of spinning and pivoting, and they're, you know, getting rid of whole storylines and stuff. And then Spider-Man, which has always been good, comes out and kicks everybody's butt, and they're like, dang it. They're like, dang it, we're gonna have to cancel Wonder Man now. Oh, come on, man, I was just liking that. I don't know why I'm building two of these. I can literally build one and copy it. Aubrey Plaza's actually in, she's currently in the MCU already. She's Death in the MCU. She appeared in the Agatha Harkness show, and while they were all doing their thing, she's Death. And the funny thing is, in the comic book, Thanos assembled the gemstones and then snapped. In the comic, he literally did a snap, and he wanted to erase half the universe. He did in the comics too, but in the comics, he didn't do it for any altruistic, my planet is overburdened and it would just make more sense if we had half the people using all the resources instead of whatever we're doing. He did it because he had a crush on Death, and he thought, if I could kill the most people at any one time, Death will fall in love with me. That was his motivation. So I think it's funny to think about Josh Brolin and Aubrey Plaza in the MCU. Turns out also in the comics, Death didn't really return the affection for Thanos because she was infatuated with Deadpool. because Deadpool couldn't die. Like, he wanted to, but couldn't because of his regenerative, his super cancer. And given that Josh Brolin also played Cable against Deadpool, I'm like, oh man, this could go weird in so many directions. It was really kind of fun. Where are we going? Thanos and you have lots in common. Do you like Death or do you like Aubrey Plaza? Because, I mean, who doesn't not like Aubrey Plaza? I really wish they would have made a Daria movie with Aubrey Plaza. I think that would have been amazing. Like is a wild understatement. Everybody's got their own person. Everybody's got their hall pass. My friend has his hall pass, or his thing is Brie Larson. Is that the right one? No, Allison Brie from Community. Or now I guess Evelyn. She was great as Evelyn. That was great. Okay, turn. Boop, 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 boop. And put this here. Okay, there we go. Sit, Ubu, sit. Cool, cool, cool. Yes. I also really like her in some of the roles she picked. What was the one? She was great in Glow. I feel like the real star of Glow was, can't remember her name now. It's like Pinnergan or something. I need to cast. Betty Gilpin. Betty Gilpin was fantastic in that. And then later went and did, was it Mrs. Brown? The weird, short-lived Peacock show, which was utterly charming. I really liked that show. Another one of those. I feel like Gilpin could have done Pluribus just as well. She's got that quality. Younger Drew Barrymore in Sin City Sing just... Oh, yeah. Yep. I don't think this is going to attach well in the software, but we're going to give it a shot. Where is it? Where is it? Is that dark gray? Yeah, there it is. Boop, boop. I think I will copy and mirror these though for the other two. Oh, it's gonna be one of these. Or I'm gonna have to hinge it in order to get it to stay. Boop. It's not gonna let me... Oh, there. Okay. That wasn't too bad. Again, this is all for looks. It doesn't have to actually stand up. Because I'm going to be changing a lot of this anyway. Again, this is going to be listed as... or this is going to be turned into... RoboForce. This is going to be a RoboForce ship. Eventually. Oh, Pluribus is an Apple TV show. It's, I don't think it's adapted for anything. Like, I don't think it's a Philip K. Dick story or anything. But the lady who's in it was in Breaking Bad, which I didn't watch. Rhea Seehorn. Oh no, she was in Better Call Saul. Was she not in Breaking Bad? She's really good. The whole show is great. I'm a big fan of the show. Apple TV, like, I know not everybody has it, and it's kind of lower tier subscription. Like, a lot of people are like, I already have too many subscriptions. But if you like science fiction, Apple TV is doing the Lord's work with science fiction. It's all of their shows are great. There's a new one coming out too. Crap, can't remember what it is, but it looks fantastic. Oh, hey man, how's it going? Nothing better than doing some Lego on a Sunday after. Ugh. Like after the 92nd minute goal, I'm just like off. Don't even want to. I don't even bother. So bad. We're so bad. I felt bad because my brother, who I don't think is a huge soccer football fan, he messaged me. He's like, hey, I got some tickets to, guess what I got free tickets to? And I was like, because he lives up in Colorado. And I was like, oh, well, enjoy watching our butts get kicked. And I was not wrong. So bad. And there was like, right after they made those subs, they looked like they had some spark. And then immediately, Horseshoe of Sadness, and Austin's whole thing is being able to possess the ball. Like, even if they don't know how to finish, at least 60% possession for them every game. This was just, they couldn't possess the ball, they couldn't win 50-50s, they couldn't dribble, they would lose it. We are short, we are slow, we are unskilled. And I don't know what they need to do to fix it. But it's just going to be another full season of watching Horseshoe of Sadness and being sad at the end of it. All while ticket prices and beer prices go up. Makes me mad, honestly, sometimes that I'm working on the stadium. Even when I was showing the stadium at Brick Rodeo, I had some fans rock up and they had a t-shirt or a kit on. And this was, Thursday and Friday, they're like, see the game Wednesday? I'm like, yeah, we look pretty good. And then Saturday and Sunday, Sunday, they're like, eh. I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, Aris is in the LV supporter group as well. We all sit on Slack chatting during the games. Something Slack has that I wish Discord would get more is just like not needing Nitro to get more cool response emoticons. Because Slack is like, you want to make one? Go ahead. Like, yes, please. They're like, yeah, go for it. Discord is like, that'll be a subscription dollar, please. No, Cliff hasn't stopped by yet. He will. Let's see, it's 11:38. He's got another 15 minutes before he does his ritualistic 5 minutes before I stop streaming. Drop by and say hi. Get a lot of those, honestly. You get a lot of. I say that. I get Cliff. I don't get a lot of anything. Where did. I wish I had people stopping by and saying hi. They are top tier for sure. So this design software is called Studio. It's up here at the top, Studio. And it is brought to you by a company called Bricklink. Bricklink is a reseller store for Lego nerds, for people like me who just want parts. You can search all kinds of parts, and you can buy them in large amounts if you want, in whatever colors. So like, if you wanted a ton of these tiles in the US, search for US and all the tiles, and then whoever has the most, you can buy them off them, and they got the prices and everything. The software also will allow you to upload to make a wish list. So if you wanted to upload this to make a wish list, it'll do that. And then you could buy all the parts needed for this. So you should be able to do it from the site too. So if you find a part, or if you find a set that you like, you just want to part it out and get the pieces, it'll do that as well. This is basically CAD software, but with Lego parts. It's kind of a dumbed down CAD software. It still retains some of those kind of design elements in it, buffer exchanges and positioning and orthogonal views versus not isometric, but perspective views. Like, it kind of is very drafty friendly kind of thing. I've been using it for about 7 years to do microfighters and the Q2 Stadium and the Capitol and any number of other designs. I try to do it in here first because it's a little bit of a, it's not selfish, but I can think of something and put it in here quicker than I can go find all the parts that I have to try to build it. Because I can do this from my job, if I have an idea, I can quickly knock out something. Versus if I want to build, I have to buy all my bricks, which isn't as easy when you, I mean, I work from home, so it's easier, but on the days I'm in the office, I can't be in here tooling around and sorting and building and stuff like that. So software allows me to do certain things and do them quicker. Just lost that one, that moved somewhere, I'm sure. Plus then, yeah, you can make a wanted list, you can share, it'll help you make instructions that you can share with other people. So it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. It's very similar to Lego's previous Lego Design Digital Designer, LDD. It's more like that than an actual CAD program. There are other programs like LCAD or MCAD or LDraw, I think is another one, that are more CAD-like. So they're like more old school design software like than Studio. But I feel like this is a good mix between, it's got some powerful tools, but also is pretty user friendly. And it has access not to all of Lego's parts, but all the database is built by Bricklink parts. So if Bricklink has a database of parts, this is where it gets it all from. Not every minifigure is in here, but it does have some retired pieces. So if you want to build with retired pieces, whatever is on sale at Bricklink should be in here. So you can use it to design stuff. That's both a blessing and a curse, because sometimes you find stuff that you're like, oh, this is a great part. I would love to be able to do this. Sometimes you run into a problem where that part is $10 and you're like, well, I don't want to spend that much. So you have to kind of be careful when you're doing custom stuff. For instance, I was doing a model of Firefly. I was doing a little microfighter of Serenity. Excuse me. And I used, voice is going out again. I used what I thought was a good part. There's that other guy. Which was Sauron's crown. From the recent minifigure, they got Sauron's headpiece or crown or whatever. And I was like, oh, that'd be a good like back end of an engine, like the back frame, and we'll put the little glowing bits of the like the Firefly class engine in it. And then I went and priced it, and because it only exists as like one minifigure in one set, it was like an $8 part. And I'm like, well, this model's only 60 pieces. I'm not going to charge somebody or have somebody spend $8 to get this one part. So it, you know, it's you got to kind of mix and match and see what works and what doesn't. I think it still would have been great. Like if you wanted to spend the money on that, great. I should have an alternative though. It's like, if you can't afford this, or if you can't find this, use this technique instead. But I'm not that clever. So right now what I'm doing is I have a list of ships that I want to do. These are all different Star Wars ships, but I want to build them in different classic space, 80s and 90s Lego themed space lines. So M-Tron, Futron, Ice Planet, all that stuff. So I'm going to take all these and do them in the style of that. So by the end of it, I don't even know how many this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think there was a cutoff line. I think the Insectoids was probably the cutoff line. And then after that, it was like Alpha Team or something. But I think that was like mid 90s or something. You can kind of lump these all together as similar space stuff. And I've got a couple already. So I've got, and I'll show you these. So this is the ATST, but it's Insectoids. So all I really did was build the actual ATST, but then change some of the, you know, the colors of some of the parts, change some of the parts out, you know, namely put in some stuff that's very Insectoids. Some of these pieces may not work out. They may not be the right colors. And it's not like I can go buy just a kit of this. I actually have to get all these parts now. So like some of these wedge pieces are going to be kind of hard to find in blue, but you know, we'll figure it out. The other one was the Spirius A-Wing. So this is another theme, Spirius. And it had like little saucers and stuff, and they had robots. And the ones I already have done, I've got a TIE fighter, a Blacktron TIE fighter, a Futron X-Wing, an Ice Planet Lambda shuttle, and an M-Tron Slave 1. And those I actually had as sets, and I just kind of changed pieces on them. So they're still very much like the actual sets. Especially the X-Wing and the Lambda Shuttle, because they were already white and the themes were white. So it was really easy to swap some stuff out. But there was a lot of like, nope, I'm just going to rip this all apart and put in new pieces because they don't have them. So yeah, it's going to be fun. And then what I want to do is put them all on a display and have the display be that classic space background that was like dunes, like it was like sand dunes. And then it had like the 80s graphic, like laser grid behind it. And then in sort of classic retro 80s, have the word Star Wars built out. So it looks like it's a classic thing. So that'll be that's the vision for next year. Oh, thanks, Zissou. Even Terratron, like you don't like the Terratron idea? I still want to do that too. There was a guy there that did, he did Seatron. So he had a bunch of, it looked like the Atlantis sets, those red ships, but they were yellow. It looked like Futron. So he had a monorail that was yellow. So everything was like yellow, and then there was like dark green and stuff. It was really cool. But it was, the whole theme was called Seatron. I'm like, ooh. It was really, really nice. What happened to my instructions? Move that back over here because I need my instructions. So yeah, this and the stadium. The stadium's probably not going to be at Brick Rodeo again for a bit. So this will be the build for next year, and I'm going to try to keep it to just this. I don't want to have different builds spread out all over the place. Like I did this year. I had maybe 4 different MOCs in 4 categories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 MOCs in 4 categories. So there was 2 collaboratives. So I guess 3 categories. Star Wars. And then whatever we decided Austin FC was in. I think we put that, I think it was its own category. Because we had 4 or 5, there were 3 of us making LV stuff, or Austin FC stuff. But we weren't really in, like, Lone Star State was a category. So we weren't really in that. It wasn't architecture. It wasn't city, you know, like we were kind of just our own table of stuff. Well, if you bring multiple ones, you kind of have to be. So I had a table full of microfighters, but I had shown microfighters before, so I didn't really want to sit by, or I didn't need to sit by them. They can live on their own. I had a collaborative build that was part of this massive collaborative build, but I only had 1 plate, so I went and dropped that off. I had the Mega Spark City. I put my section in. It lives on its own. Nobody really sits with it. And then I sat with my stadium the times I could where I wasn't playing games or doing workshops or talks or something. So you can sit with your model the whole time if you want. But so if you bring just 1 model, it's probably better because then you can sit with it the whole time. 90? Which is what I like doing, because in a lot of cases you want to talk to people about the model and you want to answer questions and things like that. But sometimes, you know, you hope that it speaks for itself. And also it's really soul draining to sit with your MOC all day and have people not make eye contact. As someone who did artist alleys at comic conventions, you're like this the whole time waiting for them to, you know, look up from the table at your eyes, and you're like, aha, gotcha, now I can talk to you about stuff. And they're like, oh no, I've made a mistake. I've made eye contact with the lowly artist. But Lego cons tend to be different. People actively want to talk to you about stuff. Nothing's really for sale, so they want to ask you how often or how long it takes to build, and if you glue it. And I have a whole bingo sheet of stuff that I kind of want to print it up for people, but I don't know how to say if someone won or not. Oh no, this has nothing to attach to. All right. Hey, Cliff's here. I told you, Zissou, 10 minutes. Somebody must have another stream going, that's why. So this is supposed to clip in here, but I don't know how to make that stay. I guess like that. Church, that's what it is. I'm missing out on the religious corner of the Lego world by going on so early. Sorry, lapsed Catholic. I haven't gone to Mass in I don't know how long. So I forget sometimes what Sunday's about for people. Other than chores. Other than picking rocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So later this week on Thursday, I may be streaming with my kid. The newly graduated Spider-Man. He's been wanting to stream with me for a while, but I may be streaming on his service. So like something on Discord, we'll have to figure it out. But if I can get it to simulcast to my channel, we'll do that. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't think we're going to play games or anything. I think we're just going to do Lego in chat. So we'll have to see. But he does want to come on and hang out, so I think that's fun. That is, if he recovers from graduation party night. I'm sure they did that. Okay, Cliff. So, lunch will be fire lit, rizzled, shibuzi, or however it's expressed nowadays. I still say awesome, groovy, cool. Fantastic. All right, this says ×2, so I think they're saying, why don't you go ahead and attach this to these two things. So we're going to take each leg, and to save time, I'm going to copy and mirror, because I have a feeling these are going to be the same legs on both sides. So we're going to do this, and I'm going to group them so I don't have to worry about it. When it comes time to change all the part colors and part types, when I'm doing this as RoboForce, here's the thing. With it being RoboForce, the only way to make it RoboForce is to not use these legs, to put them on turntables and make them do this, so the legs shift back and forth like this. So a lot of this mechanical stuff is going to be replaced. A lot of this Technic stuff is going to be replaced with real simple brick built stuff. But I want to get the size, and I'll use some of what is in the given AT-AT already, but in the end, I'm going to take this apart a lot. Okay, attach. There we go. Goodness. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to bring it all up. And this gets rotated. So yeah, come back on Thursday. Let's see what shenanigans we're going to be up to. Don't quite know yet. And I promise, unless you go to midweek mass, that I don't think there will be any church things going on. We used to go to mass sometimes on Wednesdays, so I know that there's midweek stuff happening. Swanky. I like Swanky. Swanky, and I abbreviate, usually I'll truncate it to Swank. I'll be like, oh, that's Swank, kind of thing. I also like Schmance. You say fancy schmancy, but you just remove all that other stuff and say schmance. Something, you know, wow, that shirt is schmance, or that dress is really schmance. I like that too. All right, so I think I'm good for today. This is gonna, the rest of this will be fun because this is the head and the rest of the armor. The legs were gonna be the more complicated versions of this. So again, it's gonna be RoboForce. So we'll have to pick a color scheme because RoboForce would, oh, Schmance would be, I feel like it'd be like that because you'd say fancy schmancy. So you'd short it up to Schmance. We have a new Polish player on Austin FC, and I don't know how to say his name. I have a Polish friend, and I found, I kind of looked up all the pronunciations for all the combined consonants, and I ran it by him. I'm like, this is how we would say it? And he's like, actually, that's very close. It'd probably be more like this, but you're right on track. So, all right, so Thursday will be back. Don't know exactly what I'll be doing, but I'll have Greg with me. I think, like, it's up to him whether he doesn't have his school anymore. So in the evening, he's probably not working. So I'll have to see what's going on. But you guys have a great rest of your weekend or great rest of your Sunday. I hope you do something fun or Lego related or both. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Talk to you soon.